Over the span of 92 years and over 21 tournaments, the FIFA World Cup has had so many memorable moments. On the biggest stage of all, we fans of football spectate as the competition becomes more intense and players bring their A-games in search of victory. But when a bizarre moment takes place at a World Cup, you can distinctly hear the heart of an entire nation skip a beat. You can't deny the fact that we've been blessed with a few wild moments in the history of the most phenomenal competition, with some more significant than others, but they've all engraved an unusual place in our football memories. So before we take a look at some of the most eccentric moments the World Cup has had to offer, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's dive in. The quarter-final game of the FIFA World Cup in 1986 between England and Argentina will go down in soccer history as the most infamous goal. With the score still tied at 0-0 in the 51st minute, the street-smart Maradona ran towards the England custodian Peter Shilton to challenge the flying ball. At this point, Peter felt he could use his height advantage. After all, he was a fair amount taller than the Argentine. But little did he know that Diego Maradona was about to pull a shocker. As he moved to punch the ball, Maradona stylishly hit it into the net with a sly outstretched arm. The Wizard would later take out 5 players to double the lead in the 55th minute, and the game finally ended with Argentina grabbing a 2-1 victory, clinching the title for the second time. To this day, England has still not forgiven Maradona for scoring the infamous Hand of God goal. But at least Maradona is just an enemy to one country, unlike Luis Suarez, whose patriotic service to his nation made him an enemy to an entire continent. So the 2010 FIFA World Cup was hosted in South Africa, making it the first time an African country would host the tournament. The entire continent was set to take on the greats in this game. There was the host, South Africa, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Algeria, Nigeria, and of course, Ghana. Who can forget Ghana? I mean, they were literally on their way to becoming the first African nation to make it in the semi-finals when something very tragic happened. With the game tied at 1-1 in the extra time, Suarez proved he'd do whatever it took to be a national hero, and he punched the ball off the line. This move saw him sent off, but it was far from over. Asamoah Gyan missed the consequential penalty, and the Black Stars went on to lose the penalty shootout. 12 years later, Ghana is set to take revenge on their sworn enemies in the Qatar 2022 World Cup, but that doesn't change the fact that Suarez will always remain an enemy of Africa. But at least Suarez's act of patriotism didn't cause a worldwide controversy like Zidane did. You see, growing up, not only did Zidane dream of becoming a great football player, he also fantasized about representing his country in the biggest tournament ever. But when he had to play his last game as a professional in the 2006 World Cup final, he messed things up. It would be historic, but not in a way anyone had predicted. Playing his last game in an incredible career before retirement, Zinedine Zidane lost his cool and thrust his head into the chest of the Italian defender Marco Materazzi. The French talisman was rightly handed a red card for his bizarre performance, and France went on to lose the final on penalties. Perhaps the most iconic moment of the tournament wasn't Italy lifting the trophy, but Zinedine Zidane's lonely walk past the trophy as he left the pitch, never to play again. A fantastic football career was brought to an end by a moment of madness. Maybe Zidane could take the prize for the most famous headbutt, but guess who takes the award for the most famous teeth bite? Yes, Luis Suarez. He struck at the 2014 World Cup, but this time with his teeth. Luis Suarez went very close to the Italian player Giorgio Chiellini, and he went for it. The bite was so classic you'd think he'd woken up with the goal of biting someone. I mean, this was the 3rd bite in his career. The furious Italian player immediately tried to show the referee, who seemed unfazed. Although Suarez wasn't penalised on the spot, he would be later handed a 4-month ban plus 9 internationals. The bite was crazy, but what's more amusing is Chiellini saying he admires Suarez for biting him after the game. Really? Maybe Suarez should have exerted more force on his tools to give the Italian a mark he'd never forget. Well, at least Luis Suarez kept his teeth after the bite. But what about a player who lost his after being knocked out? One of the most dramatic matches in FIFA World Cup history was West Germany versus France in 1982. Coming into the game, both sides were in top form and spectators could expect nothing less than an electric match. The semi-final was very memorable for many reasons, perhaps the greatest of which was Patrick Batterson's body being mangled as though he'd suffered a severe car accident. What could be crazier than going into a coma after spending just 10 minutes in the field? Patrick and Schumacher raced for the ball from opposite directions, with the French talisman being the first to make contact. The German knocked into Batterson, leaping into the defender's face. Schumacher's utter desperation to keep goals out of the net saw him going for the Frenchman, who was more interested in going for the ball. After the game, all he could say was, "I'll pay his dentist bills." That's a great start, Schumacher, but how about paying for his broken teeth bills? To this day, Batterson has a cracked vertebra and 2 broken teeth. Quite unfortunate, but you know what they say, never go into a football game with a complete set of teeth. Okay, nobody actually said that. So that brings us to the end of the video. Do let us know your favourite bizarre moments in World Cup history in the comments below. And if you enjoyed our video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. As always, have a great day and we'll see you in the next one.